Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Supporting Student Success, where we discuss collaborative strategies for students with different learning disabilities. Today, we're focusing on Joey, a 7th grader with a specific learning disability in reading and math. I'll be your host today, and my name is Miss Parker. I am Joey's special education teacher, and joining me today are Mr. Johnson, Joey's general ed teacher, Mr. Rivera, his school social worker, and Mrs. Thompson, Joey's mom. Together, we'll explore the strategies we use to help Joey succeed academically, socially, and emotionally. Let's dive in. One of the key instructional models we use with Joey is the I do, we do, you do approach. This gradual release model ensures that Joey first observes, then practices with guidance, and finally applies skills independently.
Exactly. Let's break it down with an example. When working on reading comprehension, we start with the I do phase. Joey's reading goal is focused on being able to pick out main ideas in the text, as well as word recognizing and summarizing. First, to transition into the lesson, I will explain the purpose of the lesson so we all understand why we'd be doing it. Joey first listens as Miss Parker models identifying the main idea of a passage using think aloud strategies.
Then, in the we do phase, I guide Joey through the process by asking prompting questions and providing scaffolds like sentence starters.
Finally, in the you do phase, Joey attempts a task on his own. We watch as he tries to pick out the main ideas on his own, provide immediate feedback, and reinforce positive efforts. Over time, we reduce the amount of prompting that we do as he builds confidence and independence. Another example of this model is during Joey's math class. One of Joey's goals in math is to be able to reach 80% accuracy in 4 out of 5 sessions when solving multi-step word problems. In the I do phase, I will show him how to organize the problem into a graphic organizer and break down the problem into different steps. In the we do phase, I will prompt Joey to identify the different parts of the problem and work to solve them. In the you do phase, I will check for comprehension as he tries to do it on his own.
How are we going to use these explicit instructions to support Joey's learning?
That's a great question. First, we need to understand the different components of explicit instruction. Explicit instruction involves using a logical sequence, clear models and explanation of content, multiple opportunities for student response, and examples and non-examples to assess student learning. Let's walk through an example. One of the goals on Joey's IEP is to be able to solve multi-step math word problems with whole numbers and all basic math functions with 80% accuracy. First, I would show Joey the logical sequence of my lesson, or in other words, the agenda for the different parts of the lesson. I would assess some of his initial knowledge by asking questions such as, what do you know about solving multi-step problems, and why might this be important? Next, I'm going to focus on using clear models to help me explain my content. In Joey's case, I would use a graphic organizer to show him how to organize the different steps of the word problem. Going back to the I do, we do, you do model, this would be the I do section. I would then elicit student responses throughout my lesson by doing more examples with Joey and having him then organize the different parts of the word problem on his own. I would also give him a non-example or two by setting up the graphic organizer incorrectly and then seeing if he can explain to me why it is incorrect.
Thanks, Ms. Parker. Another important piece that will help Joey's scaffold support. Can you elaborate a bit more on that?
Certainly. Scaffolded support structures are temporary support structures that can help build on a student's understanding of a topic. Scaffolding plays a huge role in Joey's learning process. In reading, I provide structured supports like guided questions, pre-teaching vocabulary, and using visuals. By initially prompting Joey with these guided questions, it can help him to think about areas of the text that will lead him to the main idea and force him to do active recall, which will help with summarizing.
In math, we will use manipulatives like base 10 blocks or drawing graphic organizers for multi-step problems. Initially, Joey needs guidance such as one-on-one support and talking aloud through the problem, but we gradually remove these supports as he becomes more proficient.
It's also important to recognize that Joey benefits from multisensory learning. We incorporate movement-based activities like having him physically group objects when solving equations and using read-aloud strategies where he verbalizes problem-solving steps. These techniques help reinforce concepts in a way that aligns with his learning style.
At home, we reinforce these strategies by practicing with real-world math, like budgeting for groceries and measuring ingredients for recipes. I also encourage Joey to read menus or instruction manuals aloud to build his reading fluency in a practical and engaging way. This helps Joey make connections between schoolwork and daily life, reinforcing his skills outside of the classroom.
That is a great way to build his confidence. Applying real-world strategies is a great way to excel his learning.
Another important aspect of Joey's learning are the adaptations put in place for his sensory and social needs.
Joey's sensory sensitivities can make it difficult for him to focus, so we've put some accommodations in place. He has access to noise-canceling headphones during independent work, especially when he's in a Gen Ed classroom. He also has a break card to use in Gen Ed classroom if he becomes too overwhelmed and needs a moment to self-regulate.
Joey also has access to different fidget toys to help him stay focused during the lessons.
I've noticed a big improvement since he started using these strategies. We've also been practicing social scripts at home to help Joey navigate classroom interactions and group work.
To further support his social skills, we incorporate structured peer interactions, like small group discussions and partner work, to make sure that he has opportunities to engage in a comfortable setting.
To track Joey's progress, we use formative assessments to ensure that he is learning, and we know what places we need to focus on. In the case of his reading goals, we will do verbal assessments as we go, and then we will give him a written exit ticket at the end explaining the main ideas of the story.
I also conduct bi-weekly assessments to measure Joey's reading growth. These help us determine if he's meeting his IEP goals and where additional support is needed.
For his math goals, we also use the exit ticket method after each lesson to assess how much he understood. We will also administer mini quizzes as the unit goes on to see how much he is remembering in a setting that is not as overwhelming as a summative unit test.
I document his social emotional progress by tracking self-regulation strategies he uses during the school day. If he successfully uses a break card or a sensory tool, we record it and look for patterns over time.
IEP progress monitoring is essential. We collect data from assessments, teacher observations, and Joey's classwork to ensure we're making informed instructional decisions.
I keep a log of how often Joey independently checks in his own math work. We've seen improvement in his ability to catch errors before submitting assignments. When he goes through multi-step problems, we also check off different parts of the problem he is able to do correctly.
For Joey's reading assignments, we will go through and check off all the things that he's able to do as we go through the different goals in his IEP. For example, we will log every time he's able to independently and correctly pick out the main idea in a text when we give him assessments.
From a behavioral standpoint, we track Joey's engagement levels, attentiveness, and use of self-regulation strategies. These strategies will help us gather more information on how Joey will react to his new schedule. This information also allows us to adjust support as needed. A behavior Joey struggles with is escaping. This is part of his EATS acronym, or EAT, which explains that the 4 possible reasons for behavior: escaping, attention, tangible things, or sensory issues. For example, in this case, Joey often tries to get out of doing assignments. In order to change this behavior, we've put a token economy in place where Joey can receive a token for every day he doesn't avoid an assignment and instead uses things like positive self-talk strategies.
You can even exchange the tokens for preferred activities like extra computer time, free reading, or even brain breaks.
We've added the system at home with a reward chart for completing homework, such as extra video game time. It's been motivating for him to see his progress visually and work towards small goals.
Some strategies that work well for Joey include structured routines, flexible seating, and movement breaks. Accommodating his sensory needs and giving him small incentives to complete assignments are also things that increase engagement.
Using a visual schedule and breaking assignments into smaller, manageable chunks also help him stay organized. We also provide written instructions alongside verbal ones.
Social emotional support is key. Providing encouragement and recognizing his efforts, even on small tasks, builds his confidence. We will also support him emotionally by giving him a break card to regroup if he gets too overwhelmed. This will help him perform better in the classroom and see improvement.
At home, we ensure Joey has a quiet, structured workspace and a clear homework routine. We also discuss what went well at school each day to reinforce positive experiences.
Parent involvement is also another crucial part of Joey's plan. As the special education teacher, I send weekly progress emails to Joey's parents, and we have monthly in-person check-ins to discuss Joey's progress and any concerns.
I also have Joey's teacher's phone numbers, which helps with communication on the go. It's also really nice to see when I receive calls about Joey's positive progress.
If Joey is struggling emotionally, I reach out to the parents so we can coordinate strategies across school and home.
Open communication helps us stay aligned on Joey's progress. We also encourage the parents to share what strategies are working at home.
Collaboration is the key to Joey's success. By working together, we can create an environment where he can thrive academically, socially, and emotionally.
Absolutely. With the right support, Joey's making great strides, and we will continue to adjust strategies to meet his evolving needs.
Providing Joey with social emotional support is just as important as his academic growth. It's a team effort every step of the way.
I'm grateful for this amazing team. Seeing Joey's progress has been so encouraging, and I know we're setting him up for success.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of Supporting Student Success. We hope that today's discussion provided insight into how a collaborative approach can make a difference for students with learning disabilities. Stay connected for more discussions on supporting student success. Until next time!